Over the years, guitar students have often asked me, what is it that makes guitars different and what should they be looking for as far as value for money in purchasing a guitar? Pierre, we've got a kind of an interesting looking guitar here. What is this?
Okay, that is an entry-level Cutaway with amplification, and it's very inexpensive at $575, but it is a nice gigging guitar. It's a professional gigging guitar that you can knock around, take anywhere, and it's basically aimed at somebody who wants to play nylon. It's got a standard fretboard, and we'll explore other more sophisticated instruments as we go up the range, because there's all sorts of not just cutaways, but there's also a new kind of instrument called crossover that have been getting rave reviews, and musicians love it because it has a touch and feel that they're very used to. But that particular one is the entry-level one. It's a solid spruce top, and it's quite a bright guitar, and it's a very solid stage performer.
Yeah. The Cutaway, what's the idea of the Cutaway?
The Cutaway is designed so that when you're actually barring and you don't have to lean, so basically you can slide your chords all the way down the neck, and that's why Cutaway is something that jazz guitarists love, because it's very easy and very fast. Yeah.
Let's talk a little about the pickup. Can you tell us what we've got in this?
The pickup, in actual fact, is being an inexpensive entry-level guitar. That is a Chinese version of the Fishman standard amplification, but that has an inbuilt tuner with it too. So it delivers a very bright sound and very punchy. Mm-hmm. So it punches way above its weight. Mm. And these are being bought mainly by professional musicians.
Yeah. Now, what sort of music would you be playing on this?
You could play anything on that, anything from classic to jazz to folk to a bit of rock. It's a very versatile guitar. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only thing it won't do for you is play itself.
Mm. So you've got to learn to do that yourself, huh? So can I test run it?
Absolutely, that's what we're here for.
Sounds great. What else have we got here?
Well, the next thing is something quite different. It's, you know how we were talking about cutaways and we were talking about electroacoustics. Now, the whole idea of the Cutaway is precisely to make it easy to play. Now, the concept there is that the Cutaway has evolved from a nylon string guitar that has had about 10% removed to make it easy to play. However, this is a crossover, and it's been built specially from the ground up. It's a new innovation, total different class of its own, and it's built to be played by people who have experience playing steel strings or electric guitars. People that are used to a curved fretboard, a radiated fretboard, and are used to a narrow fretboard so that you can bar with using thumb. So basically the crossover says, I don't expect you to have all the classical techniques and know how to bar and do all the... No, what it says, I'll take what you already know and transfer it onto a nylon string guitar that's going to give you real punch and drive. And this is the main difference. You'll just hear it. Compared to a Cutaway, it's a very projected sound.
Sounds nice. Sounds nice.
It's a much more out there sound, isn't it?
Yeah. It is bigger and boomier. Obviously, I mean, if you spend the lower fee for this one, you get a good value.
Yeah.
What is it that makes this so much better?
Okay, this is a professional guitar, right? So years ago, Alhambra and a lot of people in Australia, professional musicians, have the old 5P Cutaway, which is the standard fretboard, slide beautifully, lovely tone, very mellow. And we'll be reviewing that. But these ones are a completely different step and concept as to how they can be played and what they're going to do for you on stage. But there's no doubt that at just over $2,000, this is a professional standard guitar, and there's 3 in the series. This is the Model 1, then you have the Model 2 and the Model 3. Difference being, this is a solid back and sides with mahogany wood, whereas the Model 2 is rosewood, and the Model 3 is now then giving you much greater detail. At every level, you're getting that same projected sound, the same ease of playing, but you're getting more detail in your playing. And you'll see that as soon as we swatch and we go up the range.
Can I ask about this pickup now?
That is a standard Fishman. And you can get the guitar with either models 1, 2 or 3, the classic or the pro blend. So you can specify how you want to do it.
Yeah, okay.
Because it really depends whether you want to control from the guitar or whether you want to control the sound from a mixing desk.
Yeah. And the pickup obviously goes in.
Yep.
The plug goes in.
All that arrives factory setup.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at what he's got. Sounds really good.
Great, thanks.
What's the next one we've got there?
The next one is a step up, and you're going to get more detail. It's just got it's a very polished performance. Not all that much in terms of dollars more, but it just delivers that extra punch, and you'll see that as soon as you handle it.
Sounds real good. Yeah, very different sound.
Yeah, it's a more polished, more of a jazz guitar.
Okay. What are the features that give it such a...
Well, basically what you've got is you've got an oven coal back and sides, solid
Which is what?
oven coal. It's a type of wood, and it's what that wood gives is it gives you more detail and more tone, and a bit more punchier performance. And again, once you go to the Model 3, the rosewood is again going to give you a different sound. So it's quite important. It's not just about the top, it's about the back and sides too, that with a crossover really produces quite a different tone altogether. And you really got to figure out which one is going to suit what you're going to be doing. Mm-hmm. But this is probably one of the most popular models in the range. Mm-hmm. But definitely a professional guitar.
And this comes with a pickup, obviously.
Yes, you can either get it with or without pickup.
Right. Okay. The pickup between this, the difference between this one and the other, is there any difference, or they're the same?
No, you can get either with either configuration of Fishman, but the reason why you go for either the Classic or the Pro is the internal mic, and it's basically going to give you a better performance at the time of recording. Yeah. So, because all of these guitars generally tend to end up being used in recordings.
Yeah. Who are playing these guitars?
At the moment, this is a brand new model. It just was released last year. The 5Ps are played by just about everybody in the market, and this is the next stage of their evolution. For instance, Guy Straz plays a 5P Cutaway thin line that he's been playing for years, and we'll also be reviewing that one later on.
Well, I'd like to test drive this one too.
Absolutely.
Great sound. Yeah, really good. Okay. Why do they call them crossovers?
That's an excellent question. The reason why they're called crossovers is because they're a cross-dressing nylon string guitar with a electric. And what that means is you're basically getting nylon strings and a cutaway, but you've got a much narrower fretboard, which means you can use, and I've noticed how you've been playing. You've been using standard electric technique, making no allowances at all for the fact that this is a nylon. And so you're just comfortable reverting back to what you know well. So it's a narrower fretboard, and also it's a radial, so it's curved, and that's part of what gives it that characteristic sound. But the curvature is very familiar to anybody who's played an electric or a steel string. So that's why it's called a crossover, because when it was developed, it was a completely groundbreaking, from the ground up, new guitar of how do we build something that's going to be nylon for a steel player. And that's what's called a crossover. Okay. And that's why musicians like that projectedness, because it's just playing nylon, but crikey, it sounds exactly like my steel string.
Yeah, I often find that steel strings you do have to wrestle with a little bit more, because you've got to get the heavy gauge strings on an acoustic. But nylon strings, I don't find I have to fight so hard. So
absolutely,
So now price.
That particular one is the second step in the crossover range. So it's about $2,500 retail. But it's a very, very solid performer. Then up from this one is a Model 3, which has even more detail, and that's a true recording guitar. Right. It sounds really good once you start laying down tracks, and it got an excellent review in the American Guitarist magazine.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, well, they reviewed I referred earlier on to the 5P Cutaway, which most jazz players will cut their teeth on and still have. Everybody has one in their cupboard. And they reviewed that particular model like 7-8 years ago, and they rated it extremely highly, one of the highest ratings they'd ever given. And they reviewed this one recently, and they just raved. They said, well, we thought that the 5P Cutaway was really good, but the crossovers are something quite different. So I recommend anybody who wants to jump on the internet, just pull up that review. Otherwise, it's available on my website, www.guitarsonline.com.au, and have a read. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Well, I might play a little more.
Absolutely.
Through these ones today, but you've got a new couple coming up.
Yes, I have some more coming on the next shipment, and there's the Model 3 in this range coming in, which we'll showcase, and there's also a 5P Cutaway, which is, as I said, the standard jazz guitar, and the thin line version of that one, which is very comfortable for people who are used to playing an electric guitar and want that very short body and a very punchy delivery.
Okay, let's take the CP3 for a test drive. Okay, moving up in the range, this is the 5P Cutaway. Let's take this one for a demo run. Now this is also a 5P, but it's a CT, which means it has a thin line body. Let's have a good listen to it. Okay, well that's it for this issue. If you want to see more of these segments, you can go to guitarsonline.com.au or guitarheroes.com.au, and we'll see you again next time.